You know, haircuts for our autism community is not an easy task. In fact, for some of our sensory sensitive kiddos, this can actually be painful. And let me tell you, I received a lot of heat for that over on the internet from our neurotypical adults, telling me how inaccurate that is. But I stand by this fact. And through this episode, we're going to dive into all things sensory friendly haircuts. We're actually going to get to meet with the barber who provides sensory friendly haircuts and is the founder of the weighted cape, something that we use regularly in our home. Hey, my name is Kimberly. I'm the founder of Supporting Autism Mama, where we don't gatekeep our wins as special needs parents. And today that includes one of the ADLs that is haircutting. Throughout the month of July, I've really tried to focus in on ADLs or activities of daily living. All month long, we're going to break down all of the ADLs that we see in our home. That's haircutting, teeth brushing, dressing, bathing, sleeping. We're going to break down these ADLs into simpler tasks so that you can overcome some of the meltdowns and some of the hardships that are often associated with these tasks in your home. I know it's not easy, and I want to be able to help provide all of the tools so that we can bridge that gap from the time you receive that diagnosis to adjusting to your new normal. It is not a one-size-fits-all, and it is a process, but I want us to find joy in the process, and that is what Supporting Autism Mama is all about. Today, one of the ways we're going to bridge that gap is by having an interview with Henry. Henry is a barber, like I said, with a decade of experience. He now specifically offers sensory-friendly haircuts in the Dallas area. He's also the inventor of the weighted cape, something that we use regularly now for haircuts with my 8-year-old in my home. If you've seen my Instagram reels, we feature this regularly on our haircutting vlogs. The weighted cape has a weight in the collar of the haircutting cape, giving your child that input that they need to help relax during that haircutting experience, something that can be very difficult and very overwhelming. This weighted cape has made a huge difference in our lives, so I was ecstatic when he reached out to me and wanted to get an interview here on Supporting Autism Mama. In our interview with Henry, we're going to talk about all the ways that we can help our children be able to provide the most effective sensory-friendly haircut that we can. But before we get to all that, I'm also so excited to share with you my first ever sponsor, Calming Clippers. Calming Clippers are a tool we actually also use in our home every time we do a haircut. These were the first things Vinny was able to do to overcome sitting in an unrestrained chair during haircut. These tools are specifically meant for our sensory sensitive kiddos. Haircut Hero is a quiet trimmer. And when I say quiet, I mean quiet. If you check out my reel from earlier this week on our haircutting vlog, you can see a side-by-side of the regular clipper we used to use and then the Haircut Hero. It is a night and day difference. The sound and the vibration is less, making it less painful and less overwhelming for our kiddos. I'll make sure to link all of their information down below, and thank you so much for Calming Clippers for sponsoring this video. Tell me about just kind of your background, like how did the weighted cape even come to be?
I've been a professional barber for 10 years, and I've just always been that barber that's always looking for ways to improve the client experience, right? And I've always had this thought of inventing or creating something to help push the industry forward, right? I'm always coming up with ideas. And as like a cape connoisseur, right, it just dawned on me that weighted blankets would be an excellent thing to integrate with traditional haircutting capes. Like I had a weighted blanket that I bought for my wife, but like most married people know, sometimes you buy things for your spouse, but it's really for you. It's really for you, right? Yep. So after hijacking her weighted blanket that I bought for her, I realized it was just like a light bulb moment. I'm like, there's no way this doesn't exist. Like that was my I can't believe this doesn't exist moment. Mm-hmm. And after doing some research on the internet, to my surprise, nothing like a weighted blanket, but in the form of a haircutting cape existed. So I just kind of started drawing out different designs, went to a local tailor who helped me design a rough prototype. And about 3 months later, we were on the market.
That's awesome. So we've used it in our home now, I guess the last 2 or 3 haircuts. Okay. And it's made a huge difference for my kid.
Thank you so much. And actually, that's one part I didn't touch on is how I eventually entered into the neurodivergent space. Kimberly, it was serendipity. So once we launched, the market pretty much told me, yeah, this is really nice for your average customer, but for a specific type of people, this is a need. You're actually solving a problem for neurodivergent.
Absolutely. Have you had experience cutting some neurodiverse kiddos' hairs like at your barbershop?
I've cut kids who are squirmy, just who kick, scream, squirmy. So some of them were neurodivergent. I wouldn't know because, quite frankly, I didn't really know much about it. I didn't know much about autism, ADHD, anxiety, sensory processing disorder. Like everything I know, I've learned in the last year. But that curiosity made me just go all in. I joined every autism specific Facebook group. I watched YouTube channels. I got certifications, books, podcasts, and even speaking with people like you and watching your videos, like, watching your videos, like I've learned a lot. And I don't think I realized how much I've learned until I started kind of just like creating some of my videos of like me servicing kids on the spectrum. And then I'm like, oh, wow, I actually sound like I know what I'm talking about.
I love that you just solved a problem and then kind of realized what community it was going to work for and just ran with it. That's just awesome.
Thank you so much.
Well, we kind of talked about like how the cape came to be. So why do you think, in your experience, the barbershop is such a hard place for our neurodiverse kiddos?
Where do I start? I mean, let's talk about all the different senses, right? Number one, it's loud. So that's strike number one.
Absolutely.
Number two, the smells, especially the cool care we used to like, wipe our clippers. That smell can be kind of overwhelming in the barbershop, right?
Right.
Number three, the lights. So visual senses, overload, right? Kids on the spectrum like having some sense of like familiarity or predictability. But when you walk into a barbershop, you just don't know what to expect. Like you don't know what the barber across from you is going to be doing or what their client is going to be doing. You just don't know what the environment is going to look like on that specific day. So it's a lot of people. It's a lot of noise. It can be chaotic, especially if you go on a Saturday. You might have kids even already kicking and screaming in there. So I think all these reasons are why it can lead to like sensory overload for neurodivergent individuals. Even me being in like a private suite, I still have to kind of tone down my suite, before I do my sensory friendly haircut, dim my lights. I'll, make sure, because sometimes I'll spray like, cologne before a client comes in. I don't do that for my sensory friendly haircuts. I'll pull out my box of sensory toys. I'll make sure it's on a day where like there's not a lot of commotion and a lot of like traffic in the hallways with like people waiting for other stylists and barbers and stuff. And I'm still working on it. My space is still not to the point where I feel like it's 100% sensory friendly, because quite frankly, when I built it earlier this year, unfortunately, I didn't really build it to be sensory friendly. It's something I'm just slowly working on. It's something I'm just slowly improving.
As a mother, like the haircut, like itself and all of the sensory components that come into that, I didn't even think about the smell of the barbershop or even the other people. I didn't even really think about that until you said that. Like, especially if you go to like Great Clips or something, like there's like 10 other people and they're getting their haircut with you. So that's a great point. And I love that you saw and you're just slowly trying to integrate it. Because really, I mean, even at home, that's what, like, it's not something that happens overnight. Like it's slow and kind of steady, like, oh, I learned something from this client and then I'm just gonna adapt it. So that's awesome. I love that. And that kind of brings me to my next question. So like, let's say there's another like barber shop out there that have like senior weighted capes, senior videos, and they do want to integrate some of that sensory friendly stuff. What's some things that they could do besides like we don't need to do like a full remodel of the barber shop, but like what's some simple things that they could do to make their space more sensory friendly?
First thing I would recommend is for them to get certified. There's a nonprofit out there called Sensory Safe Solutions. They're the ones who certified me. And after taking that training, I'm telling you, Kim, like nothing was the same. That's what gave me confidence I needed to start this new journey that I'm currently on. So that would be the first thing. Now, second, you want dim lighting or you want adjustable lighting so you can, dim it as needed. That's number one. Number two, try to have a system where they come in before or after hours, right? That goes a long way. Before or after hours. I own a barbershop in Minnesota, and in my barbershop, we have a private suite in there. All my sensory haircuts are going to be in that private suite, which is really nice because the suite is within the barbershop, so they're not exposed to like the general chaos of like the big barbershop, and they can actually enter in through the back door. Yeah, I would say just dim the lights, try to get them to come in before and after hours. And what I'm actually starting to do now, I'm going to make you're familiar with social stories, of course, right? So
Yeah.
I'm going to make my own personal social story of me
Yeah.
at the barbershop, right? Just going, hey, these are the clippers I'm going to cut your hair with.
Yeah.
This is the comb I'm going to use to comb through your hair. And this is a barber chair. And this is a weighted cape. And these are your sensory toys, just to build that familiarity with the client before they come in. One of my most recent videos that I just made, I've actually had a mom bring her teenager who's on the spectrum to the suite like a week before his actual appointment, just to, shake his hand, meet him, introduce myself, make him feel comfortable, try a weighted cape on him, have him play with my sensory toys. So now I'm just like, like when he comes in next week, like I don't have anything to worry about because he's already familiar with me. He feels comfortable with me, and just breaking that ice a week before the actual appointment really goes a long way. So those would be my top advice for anybody who's looking to be more sensory friendly at their barbershops or salon.
Even that little detail, like being able to come before their actual appointment, I know for my kiddos that makes a huge difference. Like even just like sitting outside the building, we're like, hey, we're gonna go here. This is what we're gonna do. Yes, it does help prepare a lot. And I love that because sensory, and something that I try to preach on all of my channels, is sensory processing is so individualized. So I love that even like the lighting, you're like, it needs to be adjustable because not every kiddo is going to be the same. That's awesome. That's awesome that you realize that. And it's very good information to just kind of pass on to other people.
It's not a one size fits all because a lot of people are, misinformed. A lot of people think, well, every neurodivergent kid has a sensitivity to lights or sounds, and that's not true at all. Some kids have zero sensitivity to light. Like they come in and they're the ones who are actually turning my lights up. Like but sometimes on the internet I get yelled at, oh, you should have turned on your lights, and it's like, well, I already had a preliminary consultation with the parents, and the kid is not hypersensitive to light, so it will be just fine.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have 2 kiddos both on the autism spectrum, and they're like literally night and day. So you did some sort of certification. What did that certification process look like for you?
So it's basically a 2-hour Zoom class, right? And they also offer them in person because I know they're heavy on like barber shows right now. They go to pretty much every barber show in the nation. So you can actually take it in person as well. I took it online, and it was just very informational, right? It covers kind of some of the nuances of autism and sensory processing disorder and some of the things to watch out for. They even send you a questionnaire to send to the parents before the kid comes in, so you're well prepared. Like just some of these things that I would not have thought of, right? It just put me in that mindset of, okay, this is what I need to do. And now I just need to find my own way and my own strategies to be able to accomplish this. The average parent brings their kid to the barbershop and they're pretty much prepared to put their kid in a headlock. It's like, all right, Johnny. It's like, but after taking that training, they really started instilling in me this concept of just going at the pace of the kid, right? Meeting them where they are. And even if it doesn't work that day, just have them come back the next day, have them come back the next week. But what we're not going to do is restrain the kid and have the kid associate haircuts with trauma. That's just taking a huge step backwards. That's what that training did for me. And then over time, as I started working on kids on the spectrum, I just slowly started implementing my own strategy.
Other than the weighted cape, do you offer or have any like advice or tools for other barbers that I know you said you were talking about making a social story? Is there like anything else that you are provide now or planning on providing for other barbers kind of looking to go down the same kind of route for kiddos?
I've had many people inquire about this. I'm still not at the point where I feel like I can come up with some kind of structured or comprehensive educational thing or program for barbers or stylists. If they message me or ask me personally, of course, I'll tell them, the sensory box is like my magic bullet. The rainbow caterpillar. That thing is like a lifesaver. Every single kid that reaches into that box reaches for this rainbow caterpillar first, right? Sensory Safe Solutions actually provide like that whole box with all the toys already in it. So I didn't have to individually like sort out these toys from different places. So that was really nice. Obviously the weighted capes, bubble machine, huge, because what I've noticed is a lot of the more you can engage the kids' hands, the better, whether it's with toys or it's with popping bubbles. Anywhere you can engage the kids' hands goes a long way. So the bubble machine is also key. And then just honestly, just be ready for anything. Just be ready for anything. If the kid wants to stand or lay on the floor, whatever it is, I'm just ready for anything. And you just gotta kind of get into that mindset. I'm ready to adapt to whatever situation that I'm put in.
As a parent, I had envisioned being a mom a certain way and envisioned doing things a certain way. And for us, that's been our biggest thing is just everything is not as black and white as I used to think it was. And so really just that mindset shift, I feel like is huge. We're going to do it standing up. We're going to do it on the floor because, it's not one size fits all. What advice do you have for parents who maybe feel dismissed or misunderstood when they are advocating for their sensory sensitive kiddos or kids on this, like any kind of neurodiverse kiddo that we have out there?
Find your community, find your tribe. We exist, right? The people that do understand, the people that are willing to accommodate, and the people that will not dismiss you or your kids' feelings exist. It's getting better. Be patient, right? And just try to look in the right places for these people. Now, I know it isn't fair that you kind of have to go the extra mile, right? To find people who are just kind to your kid or to you, right? But I promise they are out there. I can speak for the barbering industry when I say it's evolving so much and at a rapid pace. In a year, in 2 years, in 3 years, there's going to be hundreds of sensory friendly barbers like me. More and more neurodivergent individuals or kids are going to just be a little bit more accommodated for during haircuts. And I strongly believe that's going to be the norm. Like, I feel like even you're going to start seeing barbershops being built out a different way, salons being built out a different way. There's already a ton of sensory rooms in big venues and arenas and airports. We're on the right trajectory, but I think there's still a long way to go. And I think something as little as like, a local barber in Dallas doing sensory friendly haircuts can start to have like this butterfly effect of like more and more people being aware that this is a need and, this is a problem that needs to be addressed.
And I love that you're sharing your story online. I feel like it was almost silly at first for me to like set up my tripod and film stories, but it has been like game changing, not only for me, but for the people that see our videos too. And so social media is an amazing thing too, if we use it in the correct way and are able to meet, a group of people. Like I wouldn't be able to meet you or talk with you without it. So I love that you're doing that. And I love that you're making a difference for your community and really much larger than now with the Weighted Cape and just with your social media. So that's awesome.
Thank you. And, thank you for putting your content out there. Please don't stop. I love it.
Thank you.
I've learned a lot from your videos. So
thank you so much. Setting up a questionnaire. Can you kind of tell me about the questionnaire that you have? Like what kind of questions, I guess, does your questionnaire ask the parents before they come to your place?
The questionnaire basically just tends to give me all the information I need to, provide a successful sensory friendly experience, right? So it involves questions like, how old are they? What level they are on the spectrum? Are they verbal? What are some of their triggers? What are some of their sensitivities? Just things like that to just prep you for the session. Now, for me, I've taken it a step further and I actually do preliminary phone consultation. Anytime I get a new client inquiring about a sensory friendly haircut, I pretty much just get on like a quick 5 or 10 minute phone call, asking a lot of these questions, but just taking it further, just getting the parents to trust me. Because I realize with the questionnaire, they're not really breaking that ice, especially with the parents. Because I also have to build the trust with the kid as much as I have to with the parents. Because a lot of them come in apprehensive. A lot of the parents, they don't know what to expect. The last time was a disaster. And it's just like, is this guy going to get overwhelmed? And I just kind of got to ease their mind before they even come in and let them know that, hey, just trust me.
As a parent, first of all, as just our little community of parents, I feel like we can be a hard to break the ice there because we are used to meeting so much resistance. So I love that you also take into consideration kind of our apprehensive. It's nice to be accommodated too for our kiddos, but then that also does benefit us in more ways than I can even put into words. I would probably, if it's taken too long or it's like, I feel like we're not going to get it done, I'd probably be like, do you need me to sit down and just hold them? Like, I would even say that. So I love that you actually accommodate for the kid more than maybe even us as parents do sometimes. So that is great.
But that's what it takes though. That's what it takes because it's a learning journey for everybody involved, for the parents, for me, my expertise. I just try to tell the parents, hey, I know you have a vacation in Florida this weekend and you want little Johnny to have the best haircut in the world. But I need you to understand that building trust with Johnny is more important than like a fresh comb over fade right now. Like,
Right.
because once I build that trust and once I get him to the point where he actually just wants to come to the barbershop or just wants to get a haircut, then that's it. If they want to get a haircut, then my job is easy. Like, that's half the job already done. That's what I pretty much aim for, is to get them to not attribute haircuts with trauma and get them to kind of unlearn all the trauma that they've also associated with haircuts from the past, whether with their parents or in a barbershop or in a salon. I make notes. I always give the parents feedback after each session, letting them know, hey, this went well. We could have done this better. For next time, let's try having dad come in instead of mom, because I notice when he's around mom, he's a little bit more squirmy. It's just a huge learning process. I think once I got to the point where I realized it's just a process, there is no finished product. It's just a perpetual process. I think that's when everything became easier for me.
Where's your physical location if someone wanted to go get a haircut with you? Where's that located at?
I am in downtown Dallas, in a part of downtown called Deep Ellum. I try to book all my sensory friendly haircuts manually, so you can't go on my booking app and book a kid's cut for a kid with sensory needs. You do have to text me, and then we can schedule a phone consultation, and then I'll manually put your child on my schedule as I deem fit. Because, for example, like, I can't be the best version of myself in the middle of a busy Friday. That's why I have to be very intentional about the time that I set aside for my sensory haircuts, because if I'm in a rush or if I'm running behind, then I'm not the best version of myself for that session, and I can't have that. So that's why I need to book those haircuts manually.
If we wanted to connect with you on social media, if we did want to purchase the weighted cape from you, where would we go to do those kind of things?
For my personal Instagram for booking your sensory friendly haircuts or to contact me, it's Henry Tribes, HenryTribes. Now, for the capes, we're all over social media at The Weighted Cape. So TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at The Weighted Cape. You can purchase your weighted capes on our website, theweightedcape.com, or on Amazon, or even on TikTok Shop. If you just Google The Weighted Cape, all of these sales channels should come up, and you should be able to purchase a cape from one of these websites.
I just want to reiterate, like, we've used the weighted cape in our home. My son, when we got the first time after we used it and we got done using it, he looked at me and he said, "It didn't even hurt, mommy." And that, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're gonna make me cry at 10 o'clock in the morning. What are you gonna do? So it made a huge difference for Mike. Do you have any other things that you just want to let our viewers know at the end? Is there any information you just want to pass along and let other people know before we wrap up?
When I graduated barber school 10 years ago, I would have never imagined that this would be the journey that I would be on. And it's been very fulfilling. I feel like this is my purpose. This is why God put clippers in my hands.
Yeah.
So if, everyone can just be patient with me, because I know I still have a lot to learn. I know I still have a long way to go. And I know that even with my invention, the weighted cape, that's not just some magic answer, tranquilizing a kid in the chair and making everything go. No, it's not. Just the weighted cape alone is not gonna solve anything, right? It takes a lot of patience, compassion, a lot of education, right? A lot of going back on the drawing board and kind of cleaning up some things. And as far as like my strategies, I just want everybody to know that this has been a heck of a journey. And thank you guys for, thank everybody for, all the kind words, comments. I've gotten a ton of positive messages, and these are the kind of things that kind of reassured me that I'm on the right path. I hope to keep being a beacon of light, hope, and joy for the neurodivergent community.
Well, thank you for everything you do. As a mom, it means quite a bit to us and my little corner of the internet. So I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Supporting Autism Mama. I hope that we covered all of the things that you wanted to talk about to be able to provide that sensory-friendly haircut for your children at home, or be able to better prepare them if they are going to go to a barber. If you are in the Dallas area, I highly recommend that you check out Henry. You can find him over at Instagram, over on TikTok, both at Henry Tribe, and then also The Weighted Cape. He has Instagram and TikToks for both accounts. If you want to have access to the weighted cape, I do have it linked in my Amazon storefront. And he also, of course, has them linked on his bios and all of his socials. And if you want a copy of the sponsor of our video, the calming clip that provide both scissors and a trimmer that are specifically for sensory needs kiddos, then make sure to also check out my Amazon storefront that I'll have linked at the bottom so that you can get these tools in your home to help your child overcome something that can be so difficult. If you found anything that you liked in this video, please consider giving us a like. If you found 2 things helpful, please consider subscribing to my channel so that I can continue making content like this for you in your home. In the month of July, we're really honing down on ADL. And if you've been tuned into my page for a while, you know that we do giveaways now at the end of every month around the theme that we talked about. And I am so excited to announce that both the weighted cape and calming clippers have sent me products to be able to send out in a giveaway at the end of the month. That's only part of this amazing giveaway that we'll have at the end of July, but make sure to stay tuned. Thank you so much for tuning in, and from one special needs mama to another, stay strong out there.